Going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Get Rich and Go Broke Chine. I am your host, Eddie Kang. We're in season 2, episode 8. I apologize for the delay. I actually recorded 2 weeks ago, I think, last week. I recorded, but the editing process just did not go through. My internet has been terrible for about the last 3 weeks, and then I was sick as a dog last week, so haven't been able to record, but I do got 2 episodes to catch y'all up on. I did record an episode 7, but it did not make it onto YouTube. I did post the plays on Twitter, so I would highly recommend following the Twitter page, because anytime I can't get my uploaded on YouTube, I will be sending the pics out on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Current standings, we are season 2, we are 18-12 plus 10.99 units for the year. All time, we are 90-76 with 2 pushes for plus 22.7 units for the year. Quick recap of episode 6 and 7. Episode 6, we went 2-3 for minus 1.89 units. We cashed on the TN first set, minus 160 for 2 units, and we cashed on the USF minus 8.5 for 1.5 units, but we lost 2 units on Liberty, minus 10.5. They won by 1 point in overtime. We lost to Shivada, money line plus 136 to Tiafo. He pushed it to 3 sets, but couldn't get the job done in the third. And then my Cinderella favorite gambling college team in the history of college, Hawaii. Football, basketball, it don't matter. But we took that minus 11.5. I believe it was like Cal Poly or something like that. And they ended up losing outright. Terrible episode on that end. Bounced back huge in episode 7, though. 3-1 for plus 2.93 units. Really should have been 4-0 for like 5.5 units. At PCB, we took him money line for 2 units at plus 260. He was up 5-3 in the third set. My bad. He was up 5-3 in the first set. Ended up losing in a tiebreaker, and that kind of spiraled the match downhill from there. He ended up losing in straight sets to Lehechka. But we cashed the over 23.5 games on Rublev and Humbert at 1.5 units. That one ended up going 3 sets. I think it went like 32 games or something like that. Excuse me. We took Florida minus 6.5 against Texas. That covered easy. I believe they won by like 10 or 11 points. And then we put 3 units on the Pistons minus 5.5 versus the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander-less OKC Thunder. OKC Thunder took the lead at the end of the first quarter in that game, believe it or not. I believe the Pistons ended up winning by like 8 or 9, made a big second half push and ended up coming back. So I really hate I wasn't able to get that episode on YouTube, because that was probably one of my better episodes. But nonetheless, I'm going to make up for it on this episode. Episode 8, I got 8 picks, 7 official picks, and 1 lead. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Pick number 1. This is a SEC semifinal tomorrow, March 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We're taking Florida minus 7.5 versus Vanderbilt. Defending national champs on an 11-game win streak. They've already beat Vandy by 4 points earlier this season. I do believe it was in Vanderbilt, but I'm not sure. They have championship experience and the DNA that matters in conference tournament plays. Vandy's never, I'm not going to say never. It's been a while since Vandy's been this relevant at this point of the season. So I'm interested to see how they handle that. Yeah, give me Florida minus 7.5, 2 units. Pick number 2, we're taking Dayton plus 5.5 versus St. Louis at minus 110. This is also going to be a 2-unit play. This is an Atlantic 10 semifinal. Dayton already beat St. Louis 72-70 earlier this season. The A10 player of the year, Robbie Avila for St. Louis, is not going to play due to plantar fasciitis. I can't remember how to say that shit. St. Louis has went 3-3 in their last 6 games before the conference tournament, including a 29-point loss to George Mason to end the season. For a team that was looking deadly to start the season, they've really fallen off the map as of late. This is tournament desperation for Dayton. They need to win the conference tournament to get into the tournament, so I'm expecting them to play extremely desperate and with a high sense of urgency for this one. The line opened at 6.5 and ended up moving to 5.5, which tells me that the sharp money's on Dayton. Kind of wish I would have got in before the line movement, but it is what it is. I just think it's a bad spot for St. Louis. They already lost the head-to-head, and they just lost the best player, not only in the team, but in the conference. This is not looking to be a good spot for St. Louis. So Dayton plus 5.5, 2 units. Let's take it to the bank. All right, pick number 3. We're going to the American Conference. This is also a semifinal match. 3 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday. We're taking USF minus 13.5 versus UNC Charlotte at minus 120. USF is on a 9-game win streak, averaging 86 plus points per game. Charlotte is 15-16 overall, but they lost back-to-back games coming into the conference tournament. USF is the more fresh team. They've had a bye to the semifinals. Charlotte's had to pretty much grind through the entire bracket to get here. The top 2 seeds have won 9 of the last 11 American tournaments. This is a very, very chalk conference tournament. And then Wes Enos is on fire, 29 points to clinch the regular season title. He's averaging 19.8 points per game in his last 10 games. The line moved from minus 14.5 to minus 13.5, so we got a better number for a team that I absolutely love. And beat Charlotte, I believe, by like 20-something points like 2 weeks ago. I believe the spread was minus 16.5, and they covered that. So if it ain't broke, don't break it. Take it to the bank. All right, pick number 4. We're moving on to the NBA. We're taking the Hawks minus 8 over the Milwaukee Bucks at minus 108. And this is 3:10 p.m. Eastern time. We're putting 2 units on this. Giannis is questionable with the right calf injury management. I do not think he's going to play. Even if he does play, there's one thing for sure, 2 things are for certain. 1, he's on a minutes restriction. 2, they've been terrible since he came back. They've been playing worse since he came back than when he was out. The Bucks haven't won on the road since February 20th. 27-37, their season's over. To be honest, I'm not really sure why they're still playing at this point. They need to be tanking as bad as they can. This pick that they have coming up is the last pick they own, I believe, until like 2030. So this is really their last chance to get a decent player next to Giannis, not through free agency or trade. Hawks are at home fighting for playoff positioning. I believe they're 7th in the East right now, 2 games behind the Magic and a game behind the Heat. Milwaukee has no motivation. They just played this team a week ago and lost by like 20 points at home. I don't see it for the Bucks at all. Give me the Hawks minus 8. Moving on to tennis. We're going over to the ATP Indian Wells semifinal. This is also a Saturday match. I believe all my bets are for tomorrow, Saturday. 4:30 Eastern. We're going to put 1.5 units on this. I call this the Wonka special. We're taking Sinner in straight sets in under 12.5 games, a plus 144 versus Alexander Zverev. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, you know how I feel about Zverev. Great tennis player, except for when he plays somebody good. Sinner leads the head-to-head 6-4, but he's won the last 5 matches against Zverev. Really, ever since Sinner has become Sinner, Zverev can't hold a candle to him. Sinner's last 2 wins against Zverev, the last match went 6-4, 6-3, and the one before that went 6-0, 6-1. Sinner doesn't beat Zverev. Sinner beats the shit out of Zverev. Sinner is only one of 2 players to not drop a set at Indian Wells yet this tournament. The other person we will be bringing up very shortly. He beat Leonard Tien 6-1, 6-2 in the quarterfinals after barely surviving against Fonseca in the round of 16. Just a complete dominant display against Tien. Mostly, I say, from what I was reading earlier, I believe it said 53% of Sinner's matches go under 12 games for team total. I'm getting a 78% probability on this. I was told this is underpriced and I shouldn't bet it. I understand where the model is coming from. But at the same time, if you're going to give me plus money for the second best player in the world to do what he normally does, I'm taking that every time. I said 1.5 units on this. We're probably going to put 2 units on this. No, fuck it. Turn into a 2-unit play. 2 units. Plus 144. Center straight sets under 12.5 games. Book it. All right. Pick 6 and pick 7 go hand in hand, so I'm just going to do them both at the same time. My official pick number 6, is over 2.5 sets at plus 170 for Carlos Alcaraz and Danny Medvedev. This is also an ATP Indian Wells semifinal, scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern time. Could run a little bit later, depending on how quickly or how long the Sinner match takes. I said in the last segment that Sinner is one of 2 players to not drop a set in this tournament. The other player is Daniel Medvedev. He has won 16 consecutive sets. Outside of Carlos Alcaraz, he is the hottest player on tour this year, and honestly, I'd probably make the argument that he's hotter than Carlos right now because Carlos took a break for a minute between Australian Open and I believe it was Doha, whereas Medvedev's pretty much been rolling since the Australian Open. The courts are faster this year, which in Indian Wells, they normally tend to be a little bit slower. Medvedev says they're playing faster, which usually helps his game out with his low stroke flat balls and shit. Alcaraz leads the head-to-head 6-2. Like I said, when Medi's on point, you listen to this podcast, you know how I feel about Medvedev. Him, Sinner, and Zverev. I can't stand all three of them. But when Medvedev's on his game, he can beat anybody, including Sinner and Alcaraz. I don't think he wins, but he can absolutely steal a set. He's already won Brisbane this year. He won Dubai. He dog walked the defending champ Jack Draper in the quarterfinals last night. Both of these players are in elite form, and I expect this match to go deep. Plus 170 gives us great value if Medvedev wins, because I believe Alcaraz is like minus 450 to win the match. That's my official pick. My lean for this match is Alcaraz to win 2-1 at plus 270. We're going to put half a unit on the lean. Like I said, I expect Alcaraz to win. I don't think it would be in straight sets. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in straight sets because we all know Medi. Anytime you expect Medi to start performing, he fumbles the bag. And anytime you expect Medvedev to fumble, he decides to turn shit up. So I would not be surprised at all if this turns into a 6-3, 6-4, or a 6-2, 6-4 straight set shutout. But I'm going to give him his respect for now. And I'll say he wins at least one set. But I don't see us not getting a sinker-ass final for the Indian Wells. All right, then my last pick for the show, my nightcap match of the show. We're taking the under 235.5 at minus 110 for the Heat and Magic game. This is Saturday, 8 p.m. We're going to put one unit on this. The Magic have been the #1 defensive rating team since the All-Star break. The Heat are decimated with injuries, and I ain't going to say necessarily injuries, but just couple injuries, couple rests. Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, what's his name? Ivan Jovic, and Andrew Wiggins are all not playing for the Heat. Another reason is this is the Magic's 5th game in 7 nights. So this is a perfect fatigue grinded out spot. And when you have the Magic's elite defense versus the Heat's depleted offense, I see this being very low scoring and very ugly. Both teams like to play slow and physical, which I also believe will lead to not a lot of tempo and pace for buckets to be scored. And it was a rivalry game. 2 Florida teams, playoff positioning. The Magic got the 5 seed. The Miami Heat are 1 game behind them on the 6 seed. Like, this is going to be a duke it out slugfest. 35, I feel like it's just a little too high. To be honest, I don't think it goes over 225. But it's the NBA. You never know. So, elite defense, I would say the Heat have no scorers, but, just dropped 83 against the Wizards the other night, so I can't really say that on here. But outside of Bam, the Heat don't really have a bucket getter playing right now. Like, yeah, they got Yaquez, but if his three's not falling, he's not really a threat. Give me the under 235.5. At minus 110. Do have a show announcement that I want to give you guys. Before I do that, though, I'm just going to do a quick recap of the show picks. We're taking 2 units on Florida minus 7.5 versus Vanderbilt. We're taking 2 units on Dayton plus 5.5 versus St. Louis. 1.5 units on USF minus 13.5 versus Charlotte. 2 units on the Hawks minus 8 versus the Bucks. 2 units on Center to win in straight sets at under 12.5 games. 1 unit on Alcaraz Medvedev over 2.5 sets. Half a unit on the Alcaraz 2-1 lean. And then 1 unit on the Magic and Heat under 235.5. Our total exposure is 11.5 units. If all hit, best case scenario, we go 8-0. We win 12.86 units. Before I get off, I do want to say, keep forgetting I'm by myself now. I am bringing back the tournament challenge, bracket challenge, whatever you want to call it, for the NCAA tournament. I'm going to up the prize this year from $150 to $200. Last year, our winner, I ended up having to give the money to the runner-up, Matthew Howard. Shout out, Matt. My original winner, I was not able to get in contact or even figure out who the hell it was to give him the money. So I'm going to have a different way to go about it this year. The requirements are still going to be the same as last year. If anything, I might add that you have to follow the show on Twitter or something too. But $200 cash prize just to fill out a bracket. I try to do something to keep fans engaged. I'll probably drop again Sunday night once they drop the bracket. Until then, as always, get rich or go broke, Chime, baby.